What's the most y'all ever heard of somebody losing on a golf course? I mean,
30,000.
Who had 30,000 to lose?
Oh, Atlanta?
Come on, baby.
30 G's?
Wait a minute.
Atlanta influenced everything. You know what I'm
30
saying?
G's? So we just landed in Atlanta, Georgia, and unlike my usual trips when I'm down here just to play golf, this time I'm actually gonna learn something. I'm about to find Jenae Jenkins somewhere around here. Ooh, that boy relaxed. Together, we're gonna explore the history of golf in Atlanta. Oh, no pressure.
No such thing as pressure, cuz. Not on the golf course. I am Jenae Jenkins, Executive Director with First Two Metro Atlanta. We are a youth development organization that uses golf as the hook to instill life skills into young people. So it's not just about teaching our young people golf, it's really empowering them to make the best decision for their lives, for themselves. And by default, when you have better kids, they're gonna be better adults, which means you have a better community, and that's really what this is all about.
You know, everybody knows that Atlanta is a cultural mecca, but I'm down here this time to learn about the significance of Atlanta in a golf context. We're on our way to Tup Holmes golf course, me and Jenae. It's really an unprecedented and unparalleled story that we have in the Black community where somebody really stood up to fight to desegregate it and give us access to the game. So this is gonna be a good one. So Accenture's slogan is "Let there be change." Historically, there's been some, amazing drives of change in Atlanta and in the golf community, specifically Tup Holmes, which is, where we are today. How important is that legacy, to the game of golf and to Atlanta more specific?
I mean, we're sitting here on the very steps of the Tup Holmes golf course, and I would say that it's so inspirational. I feel like there's so many things that we can do because of him. And so for me, that's limitless. That lets me know that I can do anything.
Man, I'm an Atlanta native, and I grew up my whole life and didn't start playing golf until my 30s. And it's crazy, I wouldn't have had that opportunity if a gentleman like Tup Holmes didn't come in and desegregate golf in America, actually.
And then also when you actually look at the case, he was represented by Thurgood Marshall. So having this golf course here, going through what he had to go through to open up the public courses here in Atlanta, for this golf course to be here, it just says a lot about the city of Atlanta in general.
Given the social climate back then, I think to myself, would I have had the audacity to push through barriers like that?
And change requires courage.
Yes.
I mean, that lawsuit took 2 years to integrate public golf courses.
I'm proud of my family's history and what we've been able to do here in Atlanta. My great-grandfather was one of the first black doctors here in Atlanta, a long time ago.
The 1910s, that's a crazy thing to think about, somebody pursuing education, what is it, like 40 years after slavery?
Yeah.
That's an amazing feat.
It was just always a strong family heritage of wanting to do what's right. They actually both had Supreme Court cases.
Yeah.
I mean, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And won both cases. But those cases, they weren't about us necessarily, but it was about just changing society, changing the way things were.
So I looked deeper into the case. It opened up Atlanta parks, beaches, and swimming pools for everybody who we're talking about, women, any group that you can think of.
And Accenture's ambition is to be the most diverse and inclusive firm on the planet. When I think of people like Tup Holmes, it reminds me of the work that we today can continue to do to further a culture of equality that will really make a difference for all of us.
All right, so right now we're driving through Southwest Atlanta. We're about to pull up to the beautiful Grab a Cup of Coffee with, Jeff Donovan and James Brown. I wanted to make sure we had some time to talk about some of those tales and those stories that people don't really talk about or get to hear too often. So this would be a good time for us to catch up.
Big Z.
Hey, Jenae.
Hey, what's up, Jenae?
So, talk to me about the history of golf in Atlanta. You started playing as a kid, obviously, but what was golf like when you were growing up?
I had heard all about Atlanta through my father, being a PGA professional himself and coming through here, hustling, gambling, and all the good, great players, all the great players that were here in Atlanta and, you know, playing at Tup Holmes and having all the skins games, you know. I got here in '04 and I started to really realize there's a lot of good golf in Atlanta, a lot of good golf courses in Atlanta. That excited me in the fact that just to come here and be around, first of all, you know, a lot of great black people, but a lot of great black golfers, because that was so rare.
Oh, thank you, appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
He's a PGA professional, but his father was a PGA professional.
Yeah.
Can you kind of tell us the significance of what I just said?
So, Harold Donovan was one of the first black PGA members. He was the first black to graduate from PGA Business School.
Yeah.
You know, became a PGA member myself in 1993, and what was significant about that is my father and I became the only black father and son PGA golf professionals in the history of golf.
You've been to some of the most prestigious, you know, courses in the country, right? What makes you come to Atlanta and say, oh yeah, this home?
You know, everybody always talk about Atlanta, and this is where the opportunity was for black men, women.
This has been the case for
Forever. You know what I mean? Forever. And then when I got the opportunity to come to Atlanta, I was like, hey, it's a no-brainer. I got to go down there. You know what I mean? I got people ask me, hey, would you leave Atlanta? No, I'm good. You know what I mean? Atlanta's a great city.
James Brown.
Yes, sir.
When your history with golf started?
Well, my history with golf was later in the years. I'd never been on a golf course before, but I knew of the Lincoln Country Club.
Yep.
That was where all the black golfers came. Everybody came to the Lincoln to play. They'd play golf, and then they'd go in the nightclub, and they'd stay the rest of the night.
Sound like a
Yeah,
good
I was
life.
about to say, ain't too much change.
First time I played was the first time I ever been on a golf course. I started playing Tup Holmes most of the time. I didn't know that there were that many black golfers on, because I didn't caddy. So most of the caddies were at the golf course and had already learned to play.
Yeah.
I don't care where you go in the United States. In the 70s, 60s, and 70s, black people got into golf through caddy.
Right.
You know, that was our entree into golf. The members would give them clubs. They would go out, you know, play where they could play. Usually it was in a field or a park, but then they started being able to get on golf courses, so you would see it that way.
What was golf culture like, black golf culture in Atlanta like in the 70s and the 80s?
John A. White, Tup Holmes, Brown Mill.
Yeah.
Most of the guys worked for Jomo, the post office, Ford. They went at 6 o'clock in the morning, they got up at 2:30. At 2:30, you might have 30 guys on the golf course.
You know how the barbershop, everybody hang out at the barbershop? That's what we did at the golf course. But you got off work, you played your match, skins game, and then afterwards, what? You played dominoes, you played spades, you played bid whist. You had the camaraderie of being around other black golfers. And then to me, it was always just like the barbershop.
How would you like to see the future of black golf, both here in Atlanta and elsewhere? What would that look like?
Obviously, financial is a barrier, but even as a youngster, you know, you don't have the access to great facilities to practice your game, or you don't have access for great instruction.
I would like to see a little more competition.
But as your skills get better, you need a better challenge golf course.
Better test
You know, like First Tee has given some of those opportunities with some of those partnerships with some of the clubs, allowing some of the First Tee kids to be members and participate and go to those facilities.
And I do want to applaud, you know, y'all for playing the part in Atlanta history and keeping this kind of like a beacon for black golf culture and for black culture as a whole.
Yeah.
Because we really do look to Atlanta as far as what do we have going on that's going to take us to the next level. Learning a bit about the history has been that way for a long time. You know, but we are going to Browns Mill a little bit later. Y'all got any stories or experiences at Browns Mill y'all can talk to us about?
It's one of those places where you know you're welcome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, when you came in town, you're gonna find a game or you're gonna find the fellas and go out there and play.
Today has been so inspiring for me. Just the legacy and the history. 1955, it wasn't that long ago.
That's right.
Where we could not play on these courses. And now we're here because of Tup Holmes. And so I feel like it's our job to keep it going and to keep creating opportunities for more people. I love the game of golf because it is one vehicle to create opportunity for more people and more people of color.
Absolutely.
I'll just never get over the fact that there were people that were courageous enough to go in places where people hated you and say, nah, I need room here. Hey, scoot over a little bit.
Golf traditionally has been a sport that people like us haven't had the opportunity to really be integrated into. The opportunity now to play golf, to introduce other people that look like us, is just something that is life-changing.
It's really important when we talk about representation. I never knew I could be a golfer. Golf seemed rich, golf seemed white, golf seemed inaccessible. Just being able to see somebody that looks like me made me say, oh, I can do that. I got out there, took my first swing. I ain't hit the ball, but you know, that first swing was the start, right?
I'm so proud of our commitment to the Tour Championship, to partner with First Tee of Metro Atlanta, to really help make a difference in the community. It's just so phenomenal to just see, as we work with First Tee, just some of the children that are just learning these values that I wish I would have learned, quite frankly, as a child, because they're so important in business today.
Being able to be empowered to do something and be a part of a community and build a new community is something that golf just brings that isn't like any other sport.
Well, what I'd say about my grandfather is that he was a person that just didn't take no for an answer, especially if he thought that he was right. You know, he was one of those kind of people. You know, just hearing stories about him and just his strength, his courage, you know, not wanting to, you know, take a back seat necessarily and to make things better for everybody just drove him to do what he did. There it is.
Yes, perfect.
There it is, there it is.
Legacy going. Legacy.
I gotta have some golf genes that drifted down to me anyway, you know.
I wasn't gonna put that kind of